Amy at Doki Doki Forest. Welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. Now today we are going to be doing one of my favorite things, which is taking art prompts and creating something with them. And in this case, we are going to be using art prompts from Janet Nash. Every Monday, she has a live stream over on her channel, and if you can make it and be there live, that's fantastic. And if you can't, don't worry, because you can always watch it at any time later. Now, each week, Janet will share something that she's working on at her desk, and it's always something very inspiring. And if you haven't seen her desk, you have to see that, because her desk in itself is just full of so many wonderful, creative, colorful things, and it's just lovely. So she'll share something she's working on, and then she will pull art prompts. So it's usually like 3 to 6 of them, and you don't have to do all of them. You can just do the ones that you would like to do that week. So these are the ones from February 5th, which was yesterday. And one of the prompts that got pulled was sheep. So that's what I'm working on here. I'm going to make a journal page, and the first thing I wanted to do was to make this sheep the center character for this page, and then I'll build the rest of it around them. But they were number one. And I don't usually draw sheep too often. I have probably drawn a couple, but not really that many. And that's one of the things I love about the prompts, is that it gets you to kind of try things or create something that you would not have otherwise. So in this case, I definitely was not planning on drawing a sheep this week. It wasn't on my mind. But now I am so happy that I had that prompt and that chance to think about a sheep and how am I going to draw a sheep. And it's just really fun to have those random ideas that you take in, and then you have to, figure out what you're going to do with them. And I love it. I love these kind of, I say challenges, but that makes it sound like it's a struggle. But it's more just like inspiration. And, and if you don't like the prompt, then, you can just skip that. Or, if you don't want to draw a sheep, which you certainly don't have to, you can do anything. You could have a picture of a sheep from a magazine that you cut out. Or maybe you have some sort of woolly texture and you could put that on to represent the sheep. So you could really just do whatever your imagination wants to do. And one of the other prompts was cozy. So I'm trying to make this a cozy sheep, and I wanted them to have a nice sweater, which is kind of funny because, with all that wool, you wouldn't really think they would need a sweater. And to be honest, I don't think this sheep does need a sweater. They just wanted to wear one. It's just that time of the year. So they have their hot mug of something. Maybe it's coffee, tea, hot toddy, who knows? And then they have their sweater on. And then one of the other prompts was purple. So I'm going to be sure to try to put some purple on this page. And when I say that, I'm going to put it the most prominently on the sheep. So I thought the wool can be purple, the horns can be purple. We are just going to go all out and jazz this sheep up. Now, do you think their wool is naturally purple? Or do you think they are using some kind of a dye? Or maybe it's like these berries, and when the sheep eats them, it turns their wool purple. It gives them that purple color, kind of like how flamingos eat the shrimp and then their feathers get that pink to them. So there's a lot of different things you can think about, and you could even create a story around that sort of thing. And or not. That's just kind of where my mind always tends to go. And I tried to get some texture on the sweater, because I was trying to just make it look extra cozy. There's nothing like getting on a nice loose-fitting sweater that's just so warm and comfortable. My favorite sweater of all times is one that I had when I was pregnant with my second child, and I still wear it because it's literally the most comfortable sweater I've ever owned. It's nice and stretchy, it has some buttons, and I just absolutely love it. So I wish all my sweaters felt that nice. You know how sometimes sweaters will look nice, but then you put it on and they're kind of itchy. They don't have that nice, fuzzy, warm kind of feeling. So, anyway, one of the prompts was not sweater, which it seems like at this point. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you the prompts now all together, and then you can see as I work on them. So the prompts were: make a button, staple something on, sheep, cozy, and purple. So right now we have sheep, cozy, and purple kind of all on this one image. And I really love to use my watercolors any chance I can get. They're just so much fun. You can add a lot of watercolor if you want the colors to be vibrant and dark, or you can use them lightly if you want a softer sort of tone to them. So they just have a lot of potential. And in case you're curious, I am at this point using my Sakura Koi watercolor. It's a pocket field sketch box. That's the name of that set of watercolors, and it's a very nice size. You can use it here at home. I can pop it in a little bag and bring it out and paint while I'm on a nature walk if I want to. So I really love it. I'm really happy with the color selection, and this is one of my go-tos when I'm not using my big palette. I also have this huge palette that is great for when I'm home, not great for when I'm out. But sometimes when my desk is even a little bit messy, which it usually is, because you know how that goes. It's like you've got to have your jars for the water, you've got to have your paints, you've got to have your scissors, you got to have your washi tape, your glue, your papers, your colored pencils, your regular pen. This is just how our desks usually look, right? So a lot of times this Koi watercolor palette is just easier to use at the desk because it doesn't take up much space. And I'm just adding some lines into that sweater. So I know I drew them with the ink, but I thought it might look nice to just add in a little detail with the paintbrush. So I like to do that. I like to do lines with ink. I like to add colored pencil, and I like to add white gel pen. So there's lots of different ways that I kind of keep going in there and sort of adding little details. And for the sheep, I'm really kind of just sticking with 3 tones. So I've got like a rose color, and then I have a blue, and I'm either making them lighter or darker. So like for the face, I really diluted that rose color, and then for the horns and stuff, I go in and put a little more of the paint on my brush, so that way I can have a deeper tone to it. That way I'm kind of all in the purple theme. Even if I'm not quite blending them together to make purple, they're still the 2 colors that make a really beautiful purple color. Just deepening it here and there where I feel like I need to. And then we have a nice mug, and I colored that with, I don't know why I said it was a nice mug. It's just a mug. And I just used the rose on that as well. But see, I made that a lot darker. So it's the same color that I used on the face. It's just one has a lot of water and one does not. One has more paint. And then I went in and I'm just adding some texture for that nice, fluffy, fuzzy wool with the paint. Just here and there, wherever looks good. You just kind of look at it, and there's no wrong way to go about it. Just have fun with it. Just add something in. And yeah. Oh, I did the lines on the horns too. I really wanted to make this like a big horn sheep because I love those big twisty horns. And I'm just trying to make a little bit of shadow here and there too to kind of separate, where does the wool end and the horns begin. So just a little bit of shadow, or, where do the ears end. And then with my colored pencil, I added some rosy cheeks because, it's nice and cozy. And this sheep is feeling nice and warm. And then here I go adding to that texture again with my colored pencils this time. And again, I thought that this would be a good way to kind of deepen some of the shadows as well, to kind of separate the neck of the sweater from the rest of it. And then at the bottom where the sweater tapers in, and then there's that little bit at the bottom, I thought that would be a good spot for some shadow, and of course under the arms as well. Now for my final touch, actually it's not, we're going to add something else. But this is the last thing I'm going to draw or paint or ink on the sheep, and that is my white gel pen. And I just love to add that. I thought it would give the horns kind of like a little shine. You put some lines on there, it gives it a little shine, and used it on the sweater. And I did add it to the fur as well, but it didn't stay white. It kind of turned blue on those spots. So I may have put that on a little too soon and didn't wait for the wool to fully dry, that purple on the legs to fully dry. But that's okay. It's not exactly white. It's more of a blue now when I look at it, but I like it. So I'm just going to keep that. And now we're going to make a very quick and cozy background using some images. So we have like a winter scene here, so we know, it's cold outside, and we're inside though, staying nice and warm by the fire. So we've got this beautiful blazing fire. There's even a little chair there. You can go and have a little seat. We've got some thread here, so maybe some wool thread there, if you want to make another sweater. And then some more fabrics, just some cozy fabrics, maybe a blanket to wrap up in, and maybe a scarf to put on. So just all different ways to stay warm when it's cold outside. And then I've got my tacky glue I use on the back of that watercolor paper, and I put it in there with a rock to weigh it down so it will stick flat. And now I realized I've got to staple something in here. So I thought, well, this ribbon might look nice. It was a little too wide though. I didn't want it to cover up too much of the images, but I thought it would look really nice if I put it where that kind of seam is between the two pictures. So I stapled that on there, and then I had this little scrap, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just use this up rather than throw it out. I thought, well, maybe I'll just staple that at the bottom and then kind of cover up that little white edge that was there too. So I'm just trimming that so it doesn't go over the little hoof there. And now I'm making buttons. I made 2 little buttons, and now I'm making this big one, and I'm just using some packaging. So this is just some packaging from a sparkling water. I'm just drawing a circle, and then I'm still thinking of the purple, but I'm using a turquoise and kind of like a rose. It's another rose pink acrylic, and I just blended those together. Here's the 2 little buttons that I also made, and those I just made purple using a Posca pen, and I'm outlining them with a Posca pen, and then I used the white gel pen to make the button details in the center. So there I am outlining the big button and making the little buttonholes and the thread. And now we're going to glue those on. So I have the 2 little ones to go on the sweater, and there's probably a third one that's behind that mug that we can't see. And then I thought this big button would look nice over on the fabric, would sort of maybe make it tie into the page a little bit better. And then I decided, well, it looks like it still needs some more, so I'm going to go ahead and staple in a couple more ribbons. And you can lift those ribbons up so you can still see the full image underneath. They're not glued on or anything. And now I'm just checking. I got to make sure I have everything before I call this page done. And we did manage to get everything on there. So thank you so much for joining me and this little sheep and staying cozy today. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you again soon.